What is it that makes movies so great? What if I told you the greatest movie director of all time doesn't even use a camera for his movies? You are probably one of 3 people watching this video. Either a fan of Miyazaki and his work with Studio Ghibli interested in what I've got to say, someone who has seen a Ghibli movie or an anime movie and wants to see more, or someone who's never in their life watched an anime movie and can't comprehend for the life of them how a Japanese anime director could be the greatest of all time. Regardless of which of these categories you fit into, let me tell you why I think so. Hayao Miyazaki is a Japanese artist, director, and the founder of Studio Ghibli. He has one of the most unique and creative skill sets of any director ever. His creative process and workflow are anything but the traditional sense of making a movie. Most directors start with a script, or at least an idea board. Miyazaki, he draws before there's ever a script. The stories come from the worlds he creates. He's not just capturing reality, he's building it from the ground up, frame by frame. My Neighbor Totoro started with just a drawing of Mei and Satsuki at the bus stop in the rain with Totoro. The entire story grew from that one moment. Before there's ever a story, a script, or any sort of character motivations, Miyazaki knows the world each of his films will take place in and the characters they'll follow. He does this to help him better visualize the characters and the story he's trying to bring to life. But his talent for drawing the frame isn't what makes his films so special, although it's why they're so beautiful. What truly makes his films special is the unique characters. Miyazaki makes kid movies. Most are rated G, with a few up to PG-13. His target audience is still young adolescents. However, it's my belief, and I'm sure his as well, that the kid, which will always be within us all, can always learn something new. His motivation to inspire the next generation comes from a tragic childhood. Miyazaki grew up in a World War II Japan. As a young kid, he and his family had to escape the fire bombings of his hometown.
トラックの荷台に父と兄とで乗りました。その時に乗せてくださいと駆け寄った母親と幼い女の子を置いて逃げたという記憶は長い間私を苦しめました。母も同じようなことをふと口にしたことがあります。ただ心にトゲのように残っています。
He often feels great remorse for that moment in his life. However, he uses inspiration from the darker aspects of life to create something he believes is worth living for. Miyazaki creates characters that will do the right thing, the person that sees someone in need and lends them a hand, the man that treats everyone with respect and kindness, the kid that he wishes he himself would have been. Miyazaki shows us that even in tragedy and dark times, there is still so much beauty in the world. The blossoming worlds he creates, the feelings of nostalgia they give you, it's because every piece of his worlds are alive. He's a meticulous world builder. Ghibli films lean into the colors of green and blue very heavily, often to create a sense of nostalgia for a place the viewer has never actually been to. He doesn't just show you a forest, he shows you the spirit of the forest. A large part of Miyazaki's imagination comes from the Shinto belief that there are spirits living among us in every corner of life, and that they deserve to be treated with respect.
His day starts with a curious ritual. But there's no one here. 皆さん今の誰にうちの人にうちの人いるんですよ。
Miyazaki's worlds feel full. He carefully makes sure every individual person feels alive in their own way, even if not a character in the film. Every part of every frame is placed for a very specific reason, and they all help the worlds of Studio Ghibli films feel more alive. But, as alive and chaotic as his worlds can sometimes feel, in order for the audience to truly feel the impact of events, Miyazaki understands that he needs to give them time to breathe. In Miyazaki films, we get action, but we also get moments like this. There's a word for this in Japanese, called ma. Miyazaki describes it as the moment between a clap. The space in between those claps that lets you breathe from the action, that's ma. He doesn't just create the beauty, he forces you to appreciate it, the moments which would otherwise go unnoticed. Growing up in World War II Japan wasn't the only tragedy of his childhood. Miyazaki's mother suffered from spinal tuberculosis. Losing her at too early of an age, Miyazaki often uses it as an inspiration to live a fuller life, a message he constantly leaves in his films as well, something he wishes his mother was able to do. This is something I connect with very closely. Having a father who died earlier than he should have, I sometimes wonder how he could have lived a fuller life. That's the core of Miyazaki. He's not just making movies, he's trying to inspire the next generation to live better than the one before it, to live a life to the absolute fullest. I can tell you all about Miyazaki, the beautiful worlds of Studio Ghibli, and the impact his films have had on my life and so many others. However, movies can only be truly appreciated, experienced yourself. So if you've never seen a Ghibli movie before, where should you start? It's my personal belief that you'll see every Ghibli movie at the exact moment in your life which you're meant to. Not a moment too soon or any later. When I first moved out on my own and watched Spirited Away, Watching Chihiro learn to grow up and become her own person, all while not forgetting who she truly is, had an impact on my life I never would have imagined. Dealing with the grief and the loss of my father. It was The Boy and the Heron, which made me want to appreciate and be grateful for the time I had with him, more than feel sorry for what I had lost or what could have been. The Wind Rises made me appreciate the will to chase my dream to no end and live a life to the fullest extent. Or maybe you're just stuck in limbo with your life right now and need a movie like My Neighbor Totoro to remind you of the beauty of curiosity and exploration. Wherever you are in life, there is a Miyazaki movie for you. So what makes him the greatest compared to other directors? Well, nothing really, because art is subjective, but personally, I believe he belongs in conversations with the greats such as Christopher Nolan, Spielberg, Tarantino, and all the others. The greatness of Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli will live on forever. Also, why do all Studio Ghibli parents drive like Lewis Hamilton?